4 people, same $2,000. One ends exhausted at $1,200 a month. One controls the market. One never works and earns the most. That spread should bother you. Same capital, same starting line, different outcomes. Most people believe income rewards effort. That belief keeps them poor. Drop that myth before it drains your capital. Sarah wakes up at 4 a.m., bakes cupcakes and sells them for $3 each. She moves about 150 a day. On paper, it looks solid. Revenue seems respectable until you notice the hidden line item. If she gets sick, income drops to zero. That is not a business. That is a fragile job in disguise. Here is the inversion. Tell me where you are going to die so you never go there. Sarah's income dies the moment her labor stops. Base case, about $1,200 a month after costs. Downside case, total income interruption. Upside case, capped by hours and oven capacity. All the risk sits on one person. Now, compare that to Emily. She never touched an oven. She buys cupcakes at $2 and sells them at $3. Same product, different role. She moves $500 a day. Her base case jumps to roughly $2,800 a month. Her downside is sales speed and supplier reliability. If sales drop 20%, income drops 20%, not 100. That's a different risk profile. Picture it. Two identical $2,000 stacks on a table. One turns into a treadmill labeled $1,200 fin month. The other turns into a chart labeled $2,800  7 month semi-capital. Different structure. One pattern is clear. Income that depends on your physical presence carries a 100% interruption risk. If your income survives a 30-day absence, you've moved from labor to system. That line matters. Now look at what happens next. Jessica didn't bake. She didn't resell. She changed the cash order. Up to this point, every dollar depended on movement. Now cash moves first. She didn't scale production. She scaled certainty. $8,000 arrived before a single cupcake moved. She secured exclusive contracts with 10 bakeries and got paid up front. Base case, prepaid cash confirms demand and covers costs. Downside case, if contracts weaken, her personal capital exposure is minimal because buyers financed inventory. Upside case, add more contracts without adding equal labor. She reversed the risk. Most people focus on margins. Smart operators focus on terms. If you get paid before you deliver, you move uncertainty from you to the buyer. Then there's Megan. She never touched a cupcake. She stood where money already had to pass and charged a toll. 8% commission connecting flour mills and sugar distributors to bakeries. No inventory. No ovens. No payroll panic. Her downside is damaged relationships. That's it. Her base case out earns the first 2 sisters. Her upside scales with network density, not hours worked. Some people sell candles. Others own the power grid. Same $2,000, different outcome because the position changed. Every income model has 3 numbers. What you earn normally, what you lose when things go wrong, and what scales without breaking. Miss one and the model fails. Here's the shortcut. Base keeps you alive. Downside decides if you die. Upside matters after that. We've said this in different ways. Lock it in with numbers. Assume each sister gets sick for 30 days. Sarah, income goes to 0. Emily, income slows, not stops. Jessica, contracts still pay. Megan, commissions continue almost untouched. Same illness. 4 different financial results. This is why risk matters more than upside. Most people ask, how much can I make? Better question, how fast can this collapse? So far, every example was business. John shows the rule applies outside business too. John risked $5 he could afford to lose for $500. He didn't need to win. That is design. Lose 5 if you're wrong. Win 500 if you're right. That's the point. He also avoided price wars. He advertised heel repair from $10 down to $4. Customers came in. But he wasn't trying to win the repair business. He sold handmade leather shoes. The repair discount brought traffic. The shoes carried the margin. 2 storefronts lose cash competing on repair prices. A third quietly sells high-margin shoes to the same customers. That is positioning over participation. Pause and anchor this. Base protects survival. Downside defines fragility. Upside is irrelevant until the first 2 are stable. Everything else is storytelling. Now, the rules. Rule 1. If revenue requires your daily physical presence. Treat it as employment, not an asset. If missing 1 week turns revenue off, like a light switch, you don't own a business, you own a treadmill. Rule 2. Do not scale fixed obligations unless at least 70% of expected revenue is prepaid or contractually locked. Jessica expanded because $8,000 hit her account first. If customers won't commit cash, they're not committed. Rule 3. Cap downside so a single mistake cannot erase more than 10% of your capital. Most people reverse this. They risk 50% to gain 20%. That's not aggressive. It's bad math. Lose 50% and you need 100% to break even. Rule 4. Avoid price wars unless the low price feeds a higher margin core. If you don't know exactly where the profit comes from, cutting price is slow suicide. These are filters. They don't tell you what to chase. They tell you what to avoid. Long-term wealth comes from what you avoid. Make this concrete. 2 businesses each earn $10,000 a month. Business A has fixed costs of $9,000. Business B has fixed costs of $4,000. Same revenue, same effort. Revenue drops 20%. Business A is dead. Business B is uncomfortable but alive. Same top line, different survival curve. One rule matters: the threshold stays fixed. Your distance changes. People optimize for the best story. Professionals optimize for survival. Here's a test you can use tonight. Write your income idea in 1 sentence. Attach 3 numbers: expected monthly income, worst case monthly loss, maximum scalable upside. If worst case loss exceeds 10% of available capital, reject it. If doubling revenue requires doubling your hours, discount the upside. If 70% of demand isn't prepaid or locked, slow down. This isn't pessimism. It's structural thinking. People admire bridges for how far they stretch. Engineers calculate how much weight they carry before collapse. Your income model is a bridge. Ignore the downside and you're driving trucks across rope. Zoom out one last time. 4 sisters, same $2,000. Sarah worked the hardest and earned the least stable income. Emily reduced fragility. Jessica redesigned cash flow and shifted risk. Megan placed herself where transactions had to pass. Only one never touched inventory and earned the most. That is structure. Effort increases output. Structure determines survival. Read that again. Effort increases output. Structure determines survival. If you disappeared for 30 days, what would your income do? Go to 0, shrink slightly, hold steady, grow. That answer tells you which sister you are and whether your model survives the next shock. Final inversion: stop asking how to grow income. Ask how income dies. Remove those causes first. If income dies when you rest, it is fragile. If it dies when prices dip slightly, margins were thin. If it dies when demand pauses briefly, you were never safe. Base case stability is victory. Downside control is intelligence. Upside is optional. Downside is mandatory. This channel exists for one reason: to help you not lose money, not to make you feel ambitious, not to make you feel clever, to help you avoid structural errors that destroy compounding. Choose your role on purpose. Be the baker if you want, but know the risk. Be the distributor if you can handle volume. Be the contract holder if you can secure prepayment. Be the switchboard if you can own position. Choose with numbers. Choose with thresholds. Choose knowing exactly how you could fail and making sure that failure doesn't remove you from the game. The upside is a rumor. The downside is a fact. Design for the facts. Comment which model you are closest to today and the numeric condition that would make you quit it.